49-14. Is that what it is right now, Steve? Welcome in.
I think
It's
so.
the McShay show. I'm obviously not in my studio. My audio is probably terrible. I apologize in advance. We'll give you the reasons why in a little bit. 49-18 right now is the score, 1 minute and 20 left. Didn't see this coming, Steve.
No. And it felt like that LSU was going to, really after Texas A&M looked like they were in control, it felt like LSU would turn the tide. It was going to make us the game, and it was going to be the game that, the night game, Baton Rouge, LSU is going to find a way to beat the better team, and no, it didn't go that way.
I mean, and across... Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be that kind of night. So, dive in with us.
Let's go.
There's going to be a lot of production issues. I'm sitting in a room, don't ask questions. You won't get answers. We got our chat is rocking and rolling, though. You know this? Always trade back our guy who's been there since day one. With guys like Jeremy Godin and Haas and Evan Hawley and, the whole group.
Cole Marie sent me a message, said she was going to be in there tonight because she was at the game. She was at the game in Baton Rouge.
I was wondering, but always trade back sent a note today saying that, hey, I'm watching games starting at noon. I'm sitting here, I'm watching anyway. He started the chat at noon, man. so I just, I love the way this,
amazing,
absolutely amazing. So yeah, we thought we were going to be breaking into a fun game, and we're not, and that's fine. But even across the landscape, all these games, every Saturday night in primetime we come on, and even if it's not the game that we expect to be close, there's something else going on that's fascinating. Just not the case. Louisville's up 38, well now 20-4 to Boston College, but comfortably there with a minute left, right? Michigan's up 31-13. Tennessee's up 56-34 over Kentucky. The surpriser that is going on in the fourth quarter, Houston putting it on Arizona State, 24-9. But we got a lot of action to get to today. Let's just, there's 59 seconds left in this A&M LSU game. Let's get to it before we reset and start the full react show, right?
Yep.
It felt like exactly what you said, Steve. It felt like Baton Rouge was coming alive. Brian Kelly, for all of the fire Brian Kelly talk, for all of the noise in Baton Rouge, all the money spent in the offseason, Nussmeier's coming back. We've rebuilt this offensive line. Brian Kelly's talking about it's a great unit. It felt like this Saturday night was going to be special. Almost a revenge game from a year ago. We get A&M coming in at number 3, undefeated. And then and early on, it's A&M looks good. LSU with the drive touchdown. LSU's back's against the wall. They're all of a sudden, it's they're always that magic. There's this magic in Baton Rouge. If you've ever been there for a Saturday night, and I tell people all the time, if you one bucket list, if you don't get there, that's on you. I've spent half my professional life begging people, if you get one chance to go to a big time game, make it at a Baton Rouge Saturday night. And then we had the punt block for a safety, right in the second quarter, interception in the end zone. It's 14-9. Now Nussmeier converts a 3rd and 17 from his own 17-yard line. Continues that drive for a long drive for a touchdown. Then a field goal before the half. All of a sudden, it's 18-14 LSU. In a half where A&M played really good ball, it's 18-14 at the half. You know when I knew LSU was in trouble?
When?
They gave up 18 points, A&M did, right?
Yeah.
But there was the safety in there. There was short field position, all that stuff.
Right.
Elko goes on the halftime interview, and he is pissed about one specific thing, the tackling.
Yeah.
And it gave him a singular focus going into that locker room. Because remember, he's a defensive guy. We've talked about it that's his baby. And so he goes in there, and they come out in the second half, and it was bang. And by the way, it's 18-14 with a safety and with 2 interceptions from Marcel Reed. So you know it's not going to get a whole lot worse for A&M.
Yeah.
I would have gotten on FanDuel right then if I wasn't studying for them and just pounded A&M in the second half. as much as I wanted to believe and feel the magic and LSU was going to pull something out tonight, it just wasn't lining up. And they come out in the second half. What, 35 unanswered? I think it was 31. We kicked off our show. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. Remember?
Yeah.
October 22nd. I'm putting on sunglasses the other day. We're celebrating. We made it a year. This thing's still growing somehow for as ridiculous as our show is. And I just think I'll never forget the A&M LSU game. It was our first night doing a live reaction show. And to see what this thing has grown into because of the support of everyone that I mention all the time in our live chat and beyond is an awesome thing. But I always remember that game. It was Nussmeier on a roll. He's QB1. Everyone on Twitter, Mafia is getting fired up, and I had him first and all that. And then he's rolling left. He throws the interception. Conor Nevins, our executive producer, says he was feeling himself, and he was. And he made a mistake. And we've seen Nussmeier do that throughout his career. But then Marcel Reed comes in. And I think it was 31 points in the second half that A&M scored. It was something absurd like that.
I'll check.
And I thought to myself, well, that can't happen again this year. Not this defense for LSU, still some flaws, but better. It's a magical night in Baton Rouge. They're not in Texas A&M in College Station. And in fact, it turns out to be worse. It's 35 unanswered points, I believe it turned out to be. I'll double check that right now.
It was 35 unanswered tonight, and it was 31 in the second half last year. You're right about both.
So not only was that was devastating to LSU a year ago. And it kicked off what was a 3-game losing streak.
That's right. Yep.
They kind of ended LSU's season. And this kind of feels like LSU, this was like the last dying hope for Brian Kelly and LSU. And where do we go from here?
You think Brian Kelly's out?
I think it's going to be really hard for him to recover. And I don't do that. Like the James Franklin thing was.
I was just trying to. I wanted you to clarify because the way I heard that was you were saying that he's out. I didn't know if you meant that for the way they can recover for the season or whether or not Brian Kelly can keep his jobs. I just want to make sure I knew what you were saying.
I don't want to say I don't know because there's nothing worse than an analyst just saying I don't know. But I've been in this long enough. And I've been in that community and know people, some influential people there, to know this doesn't fly. And it's been building. And the way Brian has, I'm not there. I can only trust the people I talk to who are there.
Right.
And I think he did a great job of ingraining himself there in the community and in like the program. But I think there's been a disconnect. And let's not forget he grew up pretty close to where we did in Somerville, Massachusetts. And I know he did the family thing down, and kind of got swept away with all the excitement and all of that. But I think over time, our true colors always come out. And at the end of the day, he's not one of them. He wasn't an SEC born and bred kind of guy, And that's not like Nick Saban wasn't. Nick Saban's from West Virginia, coached at Cleveland and then Michigan State. So like, you develop that and you ingrain yourself with a Miss Terry and all in a community. And so I just wonder with the noise I'm hearing and now watching this product and the way that team just, I don't want to say quit, but collapsed in the game that felt like a must win, or at the very least, like make this an absolute war for 4 quarters. And it just wasn't. And every flaw came out in the ugliest manner, offensively, defensively. The offensive line that Brian was screaming about. I've been around great offensive lines my entire career. Well, this offensive line is it's not that.
You know how I knew that LSU was in trouble? When Cassius Howell almost decapitated Nussmeier on the first drive of the game. I mean, just ran around the offensive tackle and almost killed him.
Yeah.
I mean, it was right out of the gate. I'll be honest. It got so bad that I thought they might pull Nussmeier earlier. I was like, this kid is so hurt and so banged up, and he's just taking shot after shot after shot. And it's like the boxer that you have to throw the towel in for. You know what I mean? Because the boxer's never going to quit on you. He's just going to keep going, and you got to throw in the towel to protect the boxer from himself. And it was just from Nussmeier, I was like, what are we doing here? Like, this kid is getting hammered time and time and time again, and it had kind of gotten out of control at that point. And I know they took him out at the end. I thought they would give him the hook quicker, not necessarily because of the way he played, but just because like he is so banged up at this point. You see it; he had a hard time getting up at times.
So LSU just scored at the end in garbage time. So it wasn't 35 unanswered, but it still was 35 points scored by A&M, 35-7 in the second half. After LSU was leading 18-14 at the half.
By the way,
so,
if the LSU job opens, that's terrible news for Penn State and Florida. I mean, that is terrible news.
Terrible. Right?
Here's
what I don't know, and I wasn't prepared for this because, honest to God, 2 hours ago we're at halftime and LSU's winning.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want this show, but let's transition in a moment here. I don't want this show to be like, well,
this is the Haas show.
Brian's out. Yeah, Haas the screaming is out and McShay's agreeing. I'm saying I've been around this long enough. I've been around that community long enough to know it's going to be damn hard to overcome this and weather this storm out in the middle of the ocean. It feels like a perfect storm of it's been brewing. This is uglier than you could have imagined. And a lot of people there who were influential were kind of, it felt like circling. You know, the sharks were circling in the ocean for something like this to happen, to say, see, told you it's time.
I hear you, man. Like,
and what I don't know is, like, I haven't even looked at the buyout. I haven't looked at, like, I don't know all of that. So we can come back to this. I'm sure it will be news everywhere, and we'll have Pete Thamel and everyone else reporting all the intricacies of this. I'm just saying, get ready for a Monday or Sunday and a Monday of a lot of noise. And now all of a sudden we are talking about Penn State, Florida, some major programs. And this isn't going to be the end of it. It's going to be a major story as we get closer to like December and January in the college football playoff. And who are the coaches that are being pursued? And we got Lane Kiffin out doing Lane Kiffin things, and everyone wants Lane.
I love it.
I know. We'll get to Lane in a minute. Everyone wants Lane, but only one team can get Lane. If any program can get Lane.
Right. He might say.
There's plenty of people down in at Ole Miss that are doing their best to make sure that he returns. And I know he's a happy man. He's got a daughter who's a really happy daughter there, and like everything else. So that's a fascinating storyline. What's most important here, Mike Elko is doing at Texas A&M what many a man could not do there, with all of the resources available to those men before him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome to watch. Oil money is different than regular booster money. It's a different currency.
I hear you, man. Have you seen their locker room? Have you seen their facilities? Have you watched the videos?
I was down there with Johnny Manziel for the pro day when he throws on the shoulder pads, and he's got Whitfield with the brooms, and he's got President Bush and his wife coming in. I'm not joking, coming in on the
I know, it's wild. It was wild.
And I'm looking around, and I'm like, you have no idea how many cranes were up and buildings were being erected. Yeah. And it wasn't just Johnny, but Johnny kind of just infused life into that area, into that program, into a place that was dying for some stardom. And it got everyone there with all that oil money to start writing checks. And let's raise that building. Let's build that practice field. Let's make a bigger stadium. Let's all of the things that happen. But still, they always good, always competitive, but never like this. And the difference is with Mike Elko, I knew it from day one, like not day one. I knew it from like 5-6 games in last year. It's a program now. It's not Jimbo Fisher and recruiting. It's not some previous guys.
Yeah.
It's a
not a cult
program.
of personality. It's a program.
And I'm not even going to use culture. I'm going to use like there's expectation, there's process, there's a like you have got to live up to this certain standard that we're creating here. And there's some things that are unacceptable, and to watch it is it's awesome to watch because they've won with defense when the offense wasn't doing well. They've won with offense when the defense had a couple hiccups. And to watch them come out in Baton Rouge against a wounded opponent, like a wounded animal, with things not going well in the first half, 2 interceptions from your star quarterback, punt blocked for a safety, and to watch them go in calmly with an angry coach, but a singularly focused coach, and to come back out in the second half and do that to Brian Kelly and that LSU program. That's
again,
again,
right?
It's different, man. And Marcel Reed is playing. Marcel Reed keeps getting better.
I'm telling you, they have a basketball offense where they might have a couple possessions where they'll go on runs. Like Marcel Reed might have like 2 or 3 bad drives in a row, and then the next thing you know, they are just lighting the world on fire with how easily they move the ball up and down the field. It's crazy. And then you add in, I mean, they had a blocked punt for a safety tonight, and they still won the special teams battle, in my opinion. I mean, their return game was insane tonight.
Well, Concepcion has another. I think that's his 3rd return for a touchdown this year, right?
Oh, I don't know. Tonight's was awesome. I'll tell you that right now. I'll check right now to see how many he's got.
I think that's his 3rd for the year because I just wrote him. Remember, we just did the big board on Thursday. The initial big board for the 2026 NFL draft on Thursday. Rough draft is our Thursday show. And for the first week of rough draft, we did some risers. Second week, we did the quarterback rankings. Third week was my top 32. And this past Thursday, Casey Concepcion didn't make it. But I did 10 guys to keep an eye on that are kind of on the bubble.
Right.
Could with a great second half could rise to the top 32. And part of what makes him special is that return ability and basically when the ball is in his hand. And so to watch him on a 79-yard return for a touchdown, but also in the passing game too, leading the team. I think he had 3 catches for 45 and a touchdown. And that's the beauty of this offense, man. Marcel Reed, it felt like tore up LSU. Who's 12 for 21, 202. He had the 2 picks in the first half, 2 touchdowns, but he also had 13 carries for $108.
Yeah. That touchdown run he had early was, I mean, that's what I've been telling you. This offense, and I know, I just keep saying it over and over again. They're my favorite team to watch. Are they the best team in the country? No, I don't think. I think Ohio State is. I still think that Texas A&M is my favorite team to watch because of what they can do. I mean, the Bethel Roman catch where he had like the one hand grab and then he's like the running game. You never know when someone's going to pop and have a big play. Marcel Reed can do things with his feet and with his arm. It's must watch TV because you never know what's going to happen. And again, they can have bad plays where you're like, you have no idea what you're going to get. You just know it's going to be electric.
And so I look at this for A&M, and let me see if I can pull up.
This team is dangerous, man. This team is dangerous.
They've got at Missouri, South Carolina at home, Samford, and then at Texas. 3 like challenging games.
Right.
Sorry, Samford.
Missouri may not have Bo Pibula after today. I'm assuming they won't. I didn't see exactly what it was, but he's carted off the field, so that's not good.
Yeah, and we'll get to Missouri in a little bit, but yeah, I think that's to be assumed as of right now.
Right.
And listen, I thought I thought Zollers came in and did okay, but it's obviously a different team without Pibula.
Yeah.
Pibula. I mean, so yeah.
Pibula.
So my point is, I mean, honest to goodness, you even lose one of those 3 tough games, Missouri, South Carolina, Texas, and you're still right there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's one loss. They're a one-loss team going into the championship game. Ole Miss and Texas A&M had massive wins today. I mean, massive wins in terms of what their playoff futures look like.
Okay, are we starting to talk about Marcel Reed for Heisman?
We should be if we're not. We absolutely should be if we're not.
Garrett Fitzgerald thinks the chat's better than the show.
If we haven't been.
Honestly, I can't disagree with him right now.
What do they got going on? Haynes King had a monster day today.
I know. We'll get to that. All right. You know what? I don't know that there's a whole lot more to cover on that. I think Brian Kelly and the storm that he is in that LSU job is there.
Right.
It's going to be the probably, unfortunately for A&M, the bigger, or maybe fortunately, A&M doesn't want, they don't want all the noise being on. So but I think that's going to be the biggest storyline coming out of this game. I think the next is, or do we need to start looking at A&M in the same light that we're looking at Ohio State and Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Is there a 3-team tier at the top of college football? And I think the next thing is let's get serious about Marcel Reed, because while it's not 350 passing yards a game, it's the combined production of the running and the passing that, and just the danger element that he brings to the quarterback position that makes it on one hand, I think you can probably count. I don't even know if you can. On one hand, count the number of players in the country that you would rather face less than Marcel Reed.
Oh,
but with all that said, we got right.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say. I mean, there's a few that jump to mind, but yeah, he's definitely in that top 5 group, I think.
With all that said, we've got an entire reaction show to do. Tucker's all over it. 180 days until the NFL draft. I've got to explain what the hell's going on with me, why I'm not in studio. We got the best things that we've seen all day long. We got a handful of great games to cover that hopefully we won't be talking about firing, but I'm sure Haas will be on the chat. And I just want to let you know, Muench, I'm really concerned. You good?
What's wrong? I'm great, man. I'm great.
All right. Tucker, roll that damn thing, man. All right, here we go. Yeah, I'm not in my home studio. It looks terrible. It looks like I'm in an insane asylum with a phony painting there in the back or something like that, and that's fine. Let's get to the best things that we saw all day before we get into all the action. Okay. Tucker, there you are. You never let me down. Drew Mestemaker. How about this? I read this on X today. Front Office Sports, want to give them credit for this. Drew Mestemaker never started a single varsity game at quarterback in high school. He was a 0-star recruit, decided to walk on at North Texas. The freshman now leads the country in passing, Steve. He just threw for a school record 608 yards and has the Mean Green 7-1 with the only loss coming to a ranked South Florida team. That's pretty wild.
As a freshman, you know what I mean? Like you would think that he would have to get into the program and get his feet. If he was a junior, that'd still be a great story.
Yeah, there's a Nussmeier situation where he waited 4 years and
right. When's the last time? Like, so am I to understand that the last time that he played a full game of football was in junior high, where he was the starter and finished the game? Is that what I'm to understand? Like, that's insane.
God, don't even know what that means. He didn't start.
Yeah, that's crazy. So
Something
like,
like, was he on the golf team and played some hoops and like some baseball and decided like I'm going to try this football thing.
it
I'm pretty good on
is
my flag football team.
to get into a program like that and maybe do it when you're a junior, it would be pretty cool. That's insane. I mean, that's different. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that.
Yeah, if you told me you went to like Bates or like Amherst,
Let's wait.
like Division 3.
We might have like a Chad Power situation here where we got some like quarterback who's come back and changed his appearance and he's like we're gonna find out he was like Eli Manning or something. I mean,
I saw
it's crazy.
it's an awesome story that like I wanted to shed some light on it because it's not A&M, it's not Ohio State, it's not Indiana, it's not the college football playoff top 12 talk, but it's like this is one of the cool things about college football that I didn't want to skip over. I did see someone else follow that with he's going to be Indiana's next quarterback.
Andrew Nowak says he said he was the punter and safety on his high school team, third string quarterback.
That's amazing. I want to know who was on that high school team. All right, you saw a bonfire there. Let's explain where I am. So I've mentioned, I don't know, like everyone kind of asked. Like, there's no secret that I have a blended family. Marissa and I have a blended family. She has two wonderful children that I consider my own. As far as that goes, and you know how that goes, Steve.
I do.
With AJ and Mia, wonderful kids who are older than my two children, Tate and Alaire. And Tate and Alaire we live with their mom on Nantucket sometimes, and then we live with myself in Cohasset. I bleed blue for the Big Blue in Swampscott, and I grew up in part of that program. But I'm always around the Cohasset program here in Massachusetts because AJ plays on the team for Cohasset, and so I'm around there. And my kids are young in Nantucket, and so we came down here. My daughter Alaire, one like does the cheering. That's the pep rally that you're watching. They had a big, honestly, it was like Southern stuff, man. It was cool. It was like, bonfire, pig roast, cheer squad out the dance, and DJ going, like really cool throwback stuff, like 1980s football down south, Texas stuff. So we came down here for the weekend. We were only going to spend one night, and then Alaire's got a soccer game today, and Tate's got to practice, and Mia and AJ are being awesome because they go to hit their games up in Cohasset. So we decided, hey, let's stay another night. So I called Tucker, and I'm like, Tuck, I got this room. It's not ideal. The volume's not going to be great. There's going to be people in the chat complaining that the chat's better than the show, and it already started, and I'm with you. I understand. But we're all making sacrifices here, and it was a wonderful time for our family down here, and we decided we're going to spend another night. So they're all tucked away in their beds, and we're going to spend another day tomorrow. So that's why we're here. But congratulations to Nantucket. Big win over Sandwich today, 7-0. Okay, 7-0, and won their conference, and they're like the top 5 in Division 6. There's 8 divisions in Massachusetts. So congratulations to them. And Cohasset, I believe, is number 1 in Division 7. So pretty cool to be around all of that as a side note. So now you know a little bit more about me, my family, and what's going on, and like what's more important. So if one show doesn't look as nice with the McShay Show sign behind us, then everyone's gonna have to deal with it. All right, what's next, Tucker? Oh, this is awesome. Take it off. Take it off. Looking good in his 70s,
not
80s,
bad, man.
whatever it is. I don't want to put an age on him, but if I looked at that shredded, in my latter years, but Indiana, man, something feels different. You got old men getting naked in the football games, like something feels different there. I just thought that was cool. I actually saw Barstool.
That is cool.
PMT posted it. The Big Cats thing, like dudes rock. I thought that was appropriate, and to appreciate Fox Sports there for their X handle. So, but all ages we've seen it all year. All right, this is the next one up. Best things we saw all day.
Can't get enough of this. Can't get enough of this.
Roman, Tim, Jordan all picked OU. No big deal. We all pick losers every once in a while, believe it or not.
Right.
But Kiffin, like fresh out of the locker room, talking to his team after a monster win, fresh out of the interviews and the media session that he has to do. Gets right on his phone, gets his thumbs working, and finds some fodder. This guy is absolutely feeling himself. Every single week. Did you see the interview too?
Yeah.
Right after the game?
Yes.
And we can't, we don't have rights to all that, so we can't post it. But that was honestly, that's hysterical. But that's on brand for Lane. He had an OU defensive player come by, and he starts jawing with the OU defensive players. Like that guy said we couldn't score on him, and so now he's embarrassing the player in front. He doesn't care.
I don't think him going after a player is necessarily great, but the player went after him first. And there's going to be, I'm fine with that. That player wanted that smoke. That player was still trying to talk to him after the game. And if that's the case, then that's fair game. And I don't think Lane intended that to be on TV. It just happened that way, that he's getting pulled into the interview as this kid's trying to still talk trash about a game that he just lost. And Lane, being a competitive dude, is going to give it back to him. I have zero problem with that. I'm here for it. It also feels different for Ole Miss this year, man.
I think Brian Haas just said the nicest thing he's ever said in the chat. Signetti's better than Woody Hayes, is what he said.
Oh, he had him better than Bear Bryant a minute ago. I mean, I think he's just rattling off coaches.
Well, I'm just saying it's normally fire this, fire that. He's firing equipment staff. Usually by 11:44 p.m. on Eastern time, as it is this Saturday night. It's October 25th, but every previous Saturday when this year, because he's been a little bit of a missing link.
Yeah, but do you know where Haas went to school?
No.
I think he went to Indiana. I think someone just said he was an Indiana alum.
That would make sense.
Is that right, Haas? Let us know.
But Indiana feels different this year. They've got old men getting naked or shirtless, I should say. It's kind of been a while, right? And we'll get to Indiana. What's next, Tuck?
Is that the last of them?
It might be the last of them, huh?
Yeah.
I thought there was one more.
Oh, you want to do your Saturday Night Spotlight right now?
No, we'll get to that in a minute. Oh, sure. Give it away. Yeah, why not? Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. And it leads us right into the biggest game. This game was fun, man.
Yeah, it was.
I was thinking there was a Tom Brady, Nick Saban thing that I was going to show, but we can get to that another time. It didn't make any sense at all, but I saw it today. Trinidad Chambliss, 24 for 44. 31%. It says 84%. I don't think we're doing our math right. 315 yards passing and a touchdown. 12 carries for 53 yards rushing. You know why he's a spotlight player?
Why
for me, at least today. It was the biggest game, and he had clearly the biggest performance in that game. Sometimes I think we forget the human element of this whole thing that we're covering, college football.
Okay.
He's a Division II player who, if you're Brian Haas type, and there's a lot of them circling around college football every week, and we love you, Haas. I'd like to use your negativity and kind of as a catapult to some other things. But there's a lot of people who like to point out the negatives, like, oh yeah, see, finally. He never played in front of a big crowd in Division II. He wasn't ready. Yeah, he came out early on against Georgia. He looked great for 3 quarters, but the pressure, the crowd noise, the environment, it all got to him in the fourth quarter. Ole Miss's offense in the week ago's loss against Georgia, the only loss of the season for Ole Miss. The quarterback who's come out of nowhere, wasn't supposed to be the starter coming into the year. Simmons goes down with the injury. He steps in. Opportunity, preparation, all meets. Forget luck. That's what it is. But he gets in this big moment in the fourth quarter in a tight game against Georgia, and he freezes up. That's what everyone's saying. Will he ever recover? Well, he comes right back out this week at Oklahoma. And I wanted to explain something to you folks. No turnovers in Norman, an OU defense that was second in the country, giving up 9.4 yards per game, second behind Ohio State. That defense has
points.
Been 9.4 points per game allowed coming into this week. And they dropped 34 on that group.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Chambliss was the reason, the
And they
biggest reason,
felt,
I should say.
yeah, and it was a very similar situation where they went late third, they went down. That Ole Miss it felt like they were controlling the game, and then that
And
Oklahoma
everyone was
scored.
waiting for it. Everyone was
Yep.
waiting for it, right?
I wasn't waiting for it, but I see what you're saying. I was sitting there and saying, okay, here we go again. Same situation. And I wouldn't say that he froze against Georgia, but I thought he tightened up and missed some throws that he was making earlier in the game. So I wanted to see how he react, and he stepped up, man. He shined, and good for him. I mean, that's a great sign for them going forward. And also the way the game ended. I thought the Ole Miss defense finally made some plays, man. Like there are some real positives to take out of this game for Ole Miss, not just the win, but kind of how they did it.
Evan Hawley, I see you on the chat, and I promise you, like Minecraft, that art behind me, like Minecraft is being kind to it. I don't know what the hell's going on with it. But I'm glad you guys are along for the show, because it's not the typical one, but it seems like everyone's handling it well, right? Yeah, I hear you. Sparats 33. Oklahoma hasn't played anyone and all that. Like I get you, like they haven't played, but like you can complain Auburn and maybe Michigan isn't as good offensively as maybe people thought they could be, and with Underwood as the starter this year. But it's still 9.4 points per game after 6 games, and like and
Yeah, I think
the
that's
talent is there. Like I'm all set with that.
yeah, I'm not
Or
buying that argument.
here's what I want to get to in this game, though. Beyond just Trinidad and his performance.
Okay.
Don't you just want Lane to stay at Ole Miss and Venables to stay at Oklahoma for like the next at least 5 years so we can keep seeing this?
Did you see the split screen they had with their coaches, their assistant coaches going back and forth on? Is this what you're about to talk about? The
I
signals?
would take it.
Oh God, it was the best thing ever. I mean, these guys are freaking out. They look like air traffic controllers on every play, and it's 3 guys doing 3 different signals. And Lane's, doesn't necessarily get as many plays in, but he still runs tempo. So Venables has to react quickly, and it was awesome to watch. Like it's there's so much going on between those two. And by the way, the way they met at the field after the game made me feel like they have a ton of respect for each other. Just 2 dudes are really good at what they do, and one's on defense and one's on offense. I thought that was genius. I think that was ABC, right? I thought it was genius by them to have the split screen of the 2 coaches at times, but also the guys who are calling the plays in from the sidelines. And you got to feel for, 2 of those guys are dummies, so they can't steal the signals, but all of them are, it should be sponsored by Red Bull or whatever energy drink you want to pick, because they are going bananas with all the signals that they're throwing at people. I thought it was awesome.
When it's funny too, I've read reports like they used to call the guys at Clemson that did the signal stealing,
Yeah.
the choir boys, because they would sit on the sideline with their the hymnals. It looked like, and they're like flipping through the hymnal, go to hymn 334, like
right.
And because they put so much time into stealing the signals. And so Lane obviously is going to take his shots at him, at Venables, and his history with that in the press conference this week. And now it becomes Lane versus Venables. And it's like this new budding rivalry in the SEC. And yeah, if he goes to Florida or if he goes somewhere else in the SEC, it still is going to exist. But don't you just love Lane at Ole Miss for some reason?
I do. I think it feels like he's found his best version of himself there. And maybe I'm maybe I'm buying the PR, and that's fine. I don't care. I want Lane Kiffin to be happy. I want all human beings to be happy and successful. And it just feels like this guy who's had this, this crazy kind of career seems to have found his best self there. And why would you go anywhere else at that point?
And did you see the OU fans early on doing the?
No, I missed that.
You missed that?
Oh, I missed that.
Awesome. No fan base in the world. I don't care, European soccer, football, like there's no more creative.
They got it. Yeah, they
than
get
college football fans. Yeah.
And
they're talking about even on our chat right now. the Gator chop with all the noise about Florida coming in and outbidding Ole Miss to get Lane Kiffin, and to start that early in the game was just priceless.
I love it. I love it.
Going back to this game specifically, Venables, I thought, did a really good job at times and weathered the storm, certain things. And as the game progressed, felt like he started to get a beat on what Lane was doing. This has been the best coaching job Lane Kiffin has ever done. And Lane Kiffin has won national titles as offensive coordinators and play callers before. Lane has done remarkable things throughout his career. It has been mired with controversy and his own created nonsense at times. And he has not backed off on all the nonsense. In fact, he's kind of leaning into it now that he's where he is, and he's healthier, and his mind is the best it's been, and his physical health, his mental health, and all those things. And so he's like, I'm the same dude, and we're going to keep winning. But I'm telling you, is that like X's and O's every week. I'm seeing him he's one step ahead. And I'm watching this game. I'm like, oh, Venables. Okay, this chess match, Lane's got it early on, but OU's, they got a beat on him now. And then to see him.
That defensive line started to heat up a little bit.
He started heating up, right?
Yep.
And to see him have answers to their answers, like that's like 401 stuff, you know?
Yeah. The throwback to the tight end.
And to do it with a quarterback that was kind of fragile late in the game, and to do it with a quarterback who was Division II and doesn't have game experience. Like, it's just, he's doing his thing. This is the best version of him. And we're fortunate as college football fans to be able to sit back and watch it. It's a treat every Saturday because you get all the nonsense leading up. And right when the game's over, when he's done painting this masterpiece, Picasso shit, he starts fighting with a defensive lineman from OU during an interview and gets on with his thumbs and is going after Jordan Rodgers and Tim Tebow on SEC Network and Roman Harper. This is I told you, Spurrier was cute. This is like the advanced, much more sophisticated version of what Spurrier was in the SEC. And Spurrier was an absolute gem that, like, you thought we'd never have another one like him. But we got a better one, more sophisticated version in Lane Kiffin.
I don't know what's with the ricochet shot on Spurrier, because he was his own thing and awesome in his own way. Like, we don't have to compare the two. I think there's a comp there because
I get you.
There's a comp there, but we don't have to
because we're talking Florida. Yeah. But you got to admit there are similarities.
Oh, I think there are. I just think I wouldn't say that this was a more advanced thing of Spurrier. If people, I don't know, I feel like we're kind of aging ourselves here. If our listeners don't really know Steve Spurrier, just unbelievable.
His offense was not advanced, sir.
I understand, but they put up points. Did it need to be? They were
absolutely not. I'm just saying
it was a track meet. I get it. But there's a lot of people, I think, who would say the same thing about Lane in terms of how quarterback friendly it is, even though it is a more advanced offense. Whatever, we're falling down a rabbit hole here. I just don't take a shot at my guy Steve Spurrier. There's no need for
it. I guess it was an indirect shot. You're right. It was a ricochet, and I didn't mean it as such. Oklahoma, it's not really the story, but we do cover the NFL draft, and I just got done doing a whole thing on it this past week. John Mateer is not the same guy with the thumb injury, and who, like, why did we ever think he would be? And quite honestly, like, why did Oklahoma think he would be? I promise you, I do feel like we've been a step ahead on this, and I'm not here to pat us on the back, but I took the time. I remember on that Sunday after it was Kent State, right? And oh, geez, I'm blanking right now. And the backup quarterback came in, and yes.
Michael Hawkins Jr., yep.
Michael Hawkins Jr. came in, and I think it was like 48 to 6 or something like that. They blew the doors off of Kent State.
Yeah, it was a lot to 11.
And you would think that really impressive, right? And I went in and watched the tape, and I'm watching like sidearms, slinging, passing, off target throws. And I think they saw, like, we can't beat Texas. Like, we can't even compete with this at quarterback. And no one's ever going to admit it, but I think that maybe allowed them to let Mateer speed things up. They created more urgency.
Right.
And so he looked good for a little bit in Texas, but then the 3 interceptions. And then he comes out the next week, and we've been chronicling it all along. He's missing throws he never missed. He's always been overly aggressive. He always has Mateer moments. There's always 3 or 4 plays a game where you rip your hair out because you're like, what are we doing? But sometimes 2 or 3 of them wind up being big time plays on decisions and throws and aggressive kind of attacking style moments that you don't want your quarterback to make that wind up working out for him because he's so uniquely gifted. But now he can't make the ordinary throws. And even when he's like connecting and it's a completion, it's missing within the strike zone. It's not the same operation. And so it's hard to watch because we know what he is. And at this point, I'm kind of like, it's going to recover. His thumb's going to get back, and but it's going to take time. And I'm not saying you should shut it down for the year or anything like that. I'm just saying I'd really like to see him back in Norman next year because I don't want him going to the NFL draft with this being this second half of the season and the tape that I'm studying, and I know you're studying as well, being the tape that the NFL scouts are. Because there were plenty of guys in the league that already had their doubts about Mateer. I'm not saying a lot but there are some, if you poll a handful of, folks in the league, there were some that had their questions about Mateer, and this gives them a lot of fuel for their fire if they're pounding the table against John Mateer. I'd really like to see him come back, and I don't know, but at the end of the day, honestly, like while some of it is still on Mateer and his inability to make the throws that we know he's capable of making because we have such a big catalog of him doing it. This offensive line was always going to be the downfall of OU, and I'm looking today, and yes, he's 17 for 31 passing, and yeah, he hasn't been the same, but he also just 17 rushing yards on 13 attempts. His thumb isn't bothering his legs and his running ability. And he's just as aggressive. I haven't seen any hesitation from him as a runner. And they just, as a offense, have not been able to run the football. So you combine those things, and over time, even if Lane wasn't cooking and Trinidad didn't have the performance that he did, it didn't feel like it was going to be enough. There was that muff punt in the fourth quarter I thought was killer for OU because OU was hanging, they were fighting, they were doing every little thing they could, but it felt like that was the moment where it just became I don't want to say insurmountable, but it became too much of a hill to climb.
I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, you could look at Xavier Robinson today. It had 109 yards rushing, and you're like, oh, they had a 100-yard rusher. He popped one for 65. They couldn't run the ball consistently. They haven't been able to run the ball consistently all year. And, and then you throw on, it's a really good defense. It's a really good defensive coach, but Mateer is not. He's not like he had a couple whole balls today where I was like, that's his thing, man. He just is lasers throwing into that area of the field, and he was missing high. And so I agree with you. I mean, I think they have Tennessee next week, and then they get a bye before they finish up. They go on that last run. So maybe that extra week, he'll get a little healthier and we can start to see some improvement. But at this point, it looks like the best thing for him to do NFL draft wise would be to go back.
Which I think would be a great thing for college football, would be a great thing
for college
Oklahoma,
football. Oh,
would be, just add to the compete level of the SEC next year. But let's get back to Ole Miss. Unlike Oklahoma, which still has this gauntlet, it's like a never-ending gauntlet for Oklahoma, and that's why I have so much concern. And that bye comes at it probably need to come earlier. Ole Miss, man, South Carolina, who felt like they shot their best shot today against Alabama, and we'll get to that game in a minute. Citadel, Florida, and then the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State. So like, yeah, South Carolina could pop up and get him. And we've seen Lane Kiffin teams throughout his history. We've
Yep.
seen this Ole Miss team not play to the level. So like they're gettable. I'm not saying they're not gettable, but if they play to even B level the rest of the season, they're going into this college football playoff. They're a one-loss team again, and that one loss was against Georgia in a game in which they kind of
At Georgia.
At Georgia, dominated for 3 quarters, young quarterback, all that stuff. I mean,
I'm with you, man.
It would take something totally unforeseen happening for Ole Miss not to be in that college football playoff. And I'll remind you at the end of the show, as we do every Saturday night, the TMS CFP 12. It's not even the CFP 12. It's the TMS top 12. And we'll transition to make it the CFP 12 as we get closer and the committee starts getting involved. But it's the TMS, the McShay show, top 12, which honestly this week, less movement than probably any other week that we've done it. But there's still some interesting conversations to be had. All right, moving on from that. Number 4, Alabama at South Carolina. Alabama wins this one 29-22. And if you just got off a plane from Asia and you read that, you know what I mean? Like you get off the plane from like a 19-hour flight, you land and your internet, or you slept for the last 9 hours, your internet wasn't working, and finally you get going, you fire up the Wi-Fi as you're pulling into the gate, and you're like, I wonder what happened to Alabama. Well, they won by a touchdown. It was at South Carolina, probably a letdown after remember, Alabama just went on a historic run. No one in the history has ever won 4 straight games against ranked opponents inside the SEC. They just did that. So it's like, all right, South Carolina's 3-3, I think, coming into this year.
Yeah.
3-4. Reese Davis had a stat. I wish I remembered exactly. They were like 0 for their last 3 or something like that against unranked on the road against unranked opponents who didn't have a winning record or something like that. This was like the 4th one, and they were 0 for their last 3. So this was a classic, and that dates back. Does it date back to Nick? It might.
No, I think it's DeBoer.
No,
it's the last.
Okay, so all right. So under DeBoer. So
yeah, I think it was DeBoer.
But it also I can remember even under Nick them not necessarily losing, but playing games that were way too close for the talent level that they had. And this felt like kind of that game. What were your takeaways in this game? I'm really curious because I have some thoughts, but I'm really curious.
The rat poison game. This was it. I thought that South Carolina tried to gut it out. It's tough that Lenore Sellers lost the fumble at the end because I think he's so gutsy in the way he carries his team and makes plays. I think he's actually, on a Lenore Sellers note, really quickly, I think he's done a good job of not putting the ball in danger too much as a passer and just kind of taking what he gets. I thought he played really well. I thought, I forget about the numbers again. This guy doesn't have a ton of help around him. The defense showed up today. Like Dylan Stewart showed up in a big way today. I thought that defense played extremely well, but the best game they've played all year. And I don't think they've played that well this year. And then the interesting thing to me was at the end, it seems to me that they have a ton of faith in Ty Simpson, the quarterback, of course, but Jeremy Bernard is a guy that they really feel like when things matter, we need to get the ball in his hands, whether it's as a receiver, whether it's as a running back, whatever, like as a runner, whatever it is. Jeremy Bernard becomes a target.
Alabama trusts Jeremy Bernard more than they trust Ryan Williams, even though Ryan Williams is a much more talented player,
100%,
absolute superstar. But between 100%. The drops, the ups and downs, it's right.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And it's interesting how they use him. It's interesting how the offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb uses him. I was, the way he was in the backfield late in this game, and I was like, I've seen that. We've seen that this year. It's not a new thing. So I went to PFF. After today, I think it's 21 snaps he's been in the backfield. It was 5 snaps against Georgia. They do a really good job of getting him in the backfield, putting him in motion, and finding ways to get good matchups for him and getting the ball in his hands quickly. It's an interesting little wrinkle that they have in their offense if you're not paying attention, and Jeremy Bernard all of a sudden is at the running back position. So I thought it was interesting about that Jeremy Bernard is, I think, their most trusted receiver. I agree with you on that. And then also that they weren't afraid to go into the bag a little bit with a little trickeration when this game was when it mattered most. I was like, that's interesting that you're not going to go with your, base offense, that they're going to start running the trick plays that they were running, or at least misdirection, sleight of hand, we can say, maybe not trick plays. But it was interesting to me that that's when they went to those plays.
I felt like they got controlled a little bit in the line of scrimmage. I
Okay.
thought South
I
I thought South Carolina, and I think part of that was rat poison. I didn't get the sense that Alabama at any point in time like took control. And I think I want to
oh
give
no.
Ryan Grubb I want to give Ryan Grubb a lot of credit, man. Because when you're coaching in Alabama and you see the progression, you talk about Caden Proctor and this offensive line improving as the seasons progress, right? And you get to a point as a play caller when you can kind of start to lean on that in moments. But to recognize in game that, tonight or this afternoon into tonight, South Carolina's we're not pushing South Carolina around.
No, we're not the
And
bully.
so it's on me now as the play caller to create optimal positions, create winning opportunities. And I've got a Jeremy Bernard who's really good with contact balance, vision after the catch, get the ball in his hands. I've got all sorts of weapons that I can utilize, from Williams to the young freshman to obviously Jeremy that we're talking about, to create some eye candy and move things around. I
Yeah.
get Ty Simpson that I'm now like, so to have that in the bag, to be able to pull it out in like the 16th, 17th hole, even though it's a shot you haven't used all season on the PGA Tour, but you know what? This is the time to use that 56 and get it out, and like let's hit this out of the rough, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I was impressed. I've been impressed. I think Grubb's done as good a job as any offensive play caller in all of college football, maybe outside of Lane Kiffin this year. And they've been doing very different things. One has been tempo, beauty, ramping it up, driving it back, transitioning from the West Coast and that he had transitioned into with Jackson Dart to going back to what he had done a few years ago, but like a more refined version. So what Lane has done has been very different. This has been a lot of pro stuff, but today it was, we got a team that's not like, we can't lean on our front. So let's take advantage of. I do worry Alabama's going to get in the college football playoff. I truly believe that. I think Alabama can win the national championship.
I agree.
It's kind of like in scouting, right? I always talk about all the general managers I've talked to over the years, even Bill Polian, 6-time executive of the year for the Indianapolis Colts. So many of the really good ones would always talk about, when I sit down and I talk to a scout that has spent a lot of 15 months maybe or more on one player, and we're kind of pushed to shove, talk to me about why is it going to work for him, this prospect, and if it fails, tell me the reason it will fail in advance, so that I can kind of forecast that with what we have as a team. How do we want to utilize them? All that.
Right.
It's kind of the same. So with Alabama, I think they're good enough. I think Ty Simpson's playing at a level. I think the receivers are good enough. I think their offensive line is getting better. I think their defense is playing at a high level. Not elite like the Nick Saban defenses when they're at their best, but it keeps kind of getting better. And did a really good job during that 4-game run that we just talked about. But if Alabama is going to not make that run and they come up short, I think it's going to be the run game.
That's
and the
fair.
lack thereof.
That's fair. I think it showed up at times. I mean, that's when they've been in a bad spot. It's because there's been a lack of a run game. I think that's absolutely fair. But I will also say this. I mean, you're right about. I mean, just to kind of concentrate the point, they did go on an absolute tear, and this is kind of a game where you may be going into it and think South Carolina's have it down here. We talk about how hard it is to play in that stadium all the time at South Carolina, and it showed again today. That's a tough place to win. The SEC is a different animal, and that's a tough place to win. And they found a way to get it done. They found a way to get a pick six. They found a way to get a strip at the end of the game. They found a way to win that game. And at the end of the day, you can say, well, it was against South Carolina and all that. It's survive in advance, man. Survive in advance,
Totally.
and they did it. And so they have a chance now to continue to get better, and we'll see what happens down the stretch. But to me, they are still very much a contender. And I see some people in the chat talking about how Lenora Sellers ain't it, and I just can't. If I see something, I'll back off of it. And I know that the end of the game, the fumbles is tough. I
Yeah.
get it, but he's trying to drag 8 guys for more yards. You can't do it. You got to hold on to the ball. I'm not making an excuse for that. But if you watch Lenora Sellers for any amount of time to tell me he ain't it, I just don't know what to tell you. If you think that game is close without Lenora Sellers at quarterback for South Carolina, you're mistaken. He is a hell of a football player.
He has flaws, man. There's no question.
No question. They all do.
But I promise you, his flaws are correctable, and the flaws he has right now are like minuscule compared to the flaws he had early last year when he took over as a starter. So as an evaluator, I'm seeing growth in this guy.
Yeah.
I want to see him back next year. I want to see another year of game experience. I don't think he throws that pick six in on the sideline. I think he learns to protect the ball a little bit. I think there are certain things. I think he continues to drill in the footwork, and we see a little bit more consistency with some of the throws. Even the deep ball he threw to Nick Harper was a little bit underthrown and could have caused problems if the DB was in a different spot. But we saw Marcel Reed do some of this stuff, but Sellers is far more advanced as a passer.
Yeah.
And he's developed into that in just a year plus as a starter. I think he's going to be special. I truly do. I think he's a top 5 pick when he comes out, whether it's 2026 or 2027. I think the best thing for him would be 2027, but that's not for us to decide.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see where he's playing and who he's playing with. I mean, if he comes out or if he stays, if he decides to go to transfer, I think it would be like the most sought after quarterback in the transfer portal by far, most sought after player. And I'm hoping that South Carolina can get some help in there for him. Improve the offensive line, get some more weapons at receivers, some more refined receivers, and it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds for him.
I want to go back to one thing though. It feels like every championship team or every great team or really, really good team has moments in their season, right? Mm-hmm. And Alabama already lost a game. We're not talking about the SEC. We're talking about if they don't win the SEC championship game, are they in a comfortable enough position where they're going to wind up getting in? Losing to Florida State, which season has tanked, and losing to a 3-3, was it 3-3?
3 and 4
team.
3 and 4. Yep.
Not good on the resume. Well, 3 and 4 now, but they were 3 and 3 coming into the week.
No, they're 3 and 5 now. They were 3
and 4. 3 and 5.
Okay,
so I'm sorry. Yes, 3 and 4.
Yep.
So not good for the resume.
No.
That was a critical moment, and that fourth quarter drive kind of may have, if they don't go on to win the SEC championship, may have saved their season. 14 plays. 79 yards, 7 minutes and 30 seconds they controlled the ball after struggling to control the ball and drive it down the field. And it's not a conversation we need to have tonight, but I'm starting to worry about Ryan Williams with the drops.
Yeah.
But not only to do that, but then to hit the 2-point conversion.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was a special drive. And that was Ryan Grubb dialing up a handful of different things throughout to
the onions on the coordinator and on the quarterback in that drive were it's just it's all the things we had said about him they justified.
And this was not a great day for Ty Simpson. I'm beating the drum hard. You're yelling at me. Why do you have him at 3 overall on your big board? Why do you have him as QB1? He's the next Mac Jones. I'm talking about.
I did not say that. I did not say that.
I got Marissa asking me questions in the middle of dinner about it. Tell us, is he Joe Burrow or is he Mac Jones? I'm like, can I enjoy Gemelli's pizza here on the island?
I love it. That's not what I said. Wait, I almost like him now more. I almost like the Ty Simpson. I like him now more because there was a little bit of adversity today. He was put in a spot and he came through, man. And when it mattered most. Again, what's a quarterback do when it matters most? And he came through.
And I see people in the chat complaining. Someone said it's the McShay show. Well, I got news for you. Next up, Missouri Vanderbilt. Play some big games, Big Ten. Play some big games, Big Ten. ACC. I
Don't
don't
poke
know
the
what to
bear.
tell you. What do you
Don't
do?
poke the
Hey,
bear, chat.
let's go down my notes. You want to talk about Indiana 56-6 or whatever the final was
Yeah.
against UCLA? Any more questions?
Yeah, I would love to talk about Alberto Mendoza today.
We will
Alberto
in a
Mendoza had a
minute.
nice
That'll be in
day.
our final notes. I got a couple things that are fun. Missouri Vanderbilt. Number 15 Missouri, number 10 Vanderbilt, 17-10. Frustrating game.
Ugly game.
Ugly game. The defenses were outstanding. Missouri, like, they just can never get over the hump, man.
No.
And so while I'm thrilled to see Vanderbilt in this run continue, Diego Pavia, like, he was 10 of 19 for 129 yards. Like, meh. He ate, and so usually when he doesn't have the big passing numbers, he's got the big rushing numbers. He had 8 carries for 20 yards.
Yeah.
It was literally just enough. And they ruined my FanDuel pick of the week, by the way.
I'm sure they're crushed.
Crushed. How does this game have a 7-point differential in it? Like, it felt like a 1-point game, and it was gross 1-point game. But if you're a defensive coach, you're like, gross, get out of here. Like, yeah, the backup came in. Pribula went out in the third quarter. Matt Zollers comes in. He's 14 of 23, made a couple decent throws, did his thing, but it wasn't enough. Ahmed Hardy was really good, 20 carries for 97 yards, but their RB2, I forgot, I don't have the numbers, but they just didn't get enough production, and it just wasn't enough. In Vanderbilt, the Cinderella story continues, and it took, honestly, the defense stepping up and maybe an injury for them to get this win.
Yeah.
Because I guess my point, I thought Missouri was actually outplaying them before Pribula went out.
I kind of like Missouri in this game. It was tough because it was at Vanderbilt, but yeah, I mean, it was back and forth, and it was ugly. And I love Missouri's defense. I like Missouri's defense better than I like Vanderbilt. So if we're gonna get into a knockdown fight, and it's gonna be the run game and defense, Missouri's built to do that. Missouri's built to win those kind of games. But yeah, I don't know. I do think it's interesting that Vanderbilt, Tennessee at the end of the year, Vanderbilt at Tennessee, this could be one of the biggest games of the season. Is Vanderbilt at Tennessee, and that would have been unthinkable 3 or 4 years ago. So good on Vanderbilt.
It used to be a laughing stock of a rivalry, honestly.
Yes. So that's I'm excited about that. But Vanderbilt does have to get by Auburn and Kentucky first. But they're in a good spot too, man. The SEC is fascinating right now. We could do a whole show about how that could shake out, and I'm sure that the chat's here for it. I can tell. I think they like that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what else we can provide in this game outside of, we'll get to where Vanderbilt should be ranked in the TMS top 12 when we combine our thoughts and we come up with a consensus or the closest thing we can later. Sticking with the SEC.
Here we go.
How do I want to frame this? If I had told you that Arch Manning went 29 of 46 for 346 yards with 3 touchdowns, and that Ryan Wingo went off 5 catches for 184 yards after watching the struggles with Manning early in the year, after watching he and Wingo just not being able to connect, almost like it was like the yips, and it was Wingo dropping, it was Manning throwing it in the dirt. It was like one of them stole the other's girlfriend, but like they both stole each other's. Like they couldn't connect. No chemistry. And so you got Manning with 346, Wingo with 184 of them. And if I told you that they just won another game and they beat Oklahoma, you'd be like, all right, maybe they can make a run at this thing, right?
Yeah, because that defense is so good.
The defense is great. They're always great. They gave up 38 points defensively today. The offensive line, the run game continues to be borderline putrid. 72 yards rushing on 32 carries, and I guess I'm burying the lead. this game went into overtime, and it took 24 points in the fourth quarter from Texas to even get it to overtime.
I thought it was over. And then because I stopped watching, and then the tracker came on and it said it was tied. I was like, what's happening? What happened in that game?
And so, like, I don't want to spend a lot of, but Texas is 6-2. They're 3-1 in the SEC. Manning's throwing for 350, but I feel like Texas is a dead man walking.
I do too, but you're right. I mean, the reality is different than the perception right now.
I'm curious if Vanderbilt's up next. And don't forget 16-13 against Kentucky the week before.
Yeah.
And so 1 week it's, and remember I said to you after Oklahoma, I've been in this game too long.
Yep.
I've seen too many Oklahoma Red River rivalries where the winner comes out and you're like, oh, they're about to go on a run. They look great. And it becomes fool's gold.
Yeah.
And it kind of, even though Texas has won 2 straight, you know, you have that ugly loss at Florida now, which continues to look uglier, but like, and the opening loss, which took a dent out of them. But really, like, they get the Oklahoma win. They win at Kentucky. They win at Mississippi State. Now they go home to Austin. They get Vanderbilt. But Vanderbilt's ranked 10. I'm dying to know from FanDuel. Actually, you know what? We might be able. I'm doing much. See if you can look it up on your app. But before you do, who's going to be favored in that game? It's at Texas.
I'm gonna go
interested in our chat. Huh?
I'm going Vanderbilt.
They 2.5.
I was gonna say 3.
Okay. I mean
3.5. Let me see if I can find it. I mean, Vanderbilt gave them a game last year. It was 27-24.
Texas, FanDuel never, they're unbelievable. Like the folks, like Tucker just presses a button.
Did he already get it?
Someone's sitting there at FanDuel and they just like,
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Texas is minus 2.5.
Wow.
I bet you by Saturday that line shifts to Vandy favor. Let's see how that plays out.
I missed that game and talk about the rest of Vanderbilt's schedule, by the way. So I'm glad you brought it up. But I mean, that's really a toss-up. Like, and who would have thought?
Can I just say something? Well, I mean, let's just take the beating. I mean, we're going to take the beating for the bad art and the production mess that I created for this show by staying here in Nantucket. And we're going to take a beating for the SEC tonight because they had just so happened to have the only like critical games, not the only ones, but the most critical games. This thing I mean, on paper at least, A&M's undefeated. A&M's undefeated, 5-0. Bama's 5-0. This is SEC, right?
Yep.
Georgia, Ole Miss, Vandy, Texas, all with 1 loss.
Yeah. Oh, Texas has 2, right? Yeah.
No,
in the conference.
SEC, in the conference.
Yep, got it. Yep.
That's 6 teams with 1 loss or fewer. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
and unlike the Big Ten and the ACC, they're all playing each other. It feels like it's like 2. It's not 6 degrees of separation. It's like 2 degrees of separation if it's not head to head in the next month of football. Now that we're turning the page on November, so it's going to be an awesome run. All right, Big Ten. Like we mentioned, we talk about Big Ten. UCLA at Indiana, 56-6. Was that the final?
56.
But I did want to get this note in before we get to the TMS top 12. I did want to get this note in. I can't remember. I'm sure, like, if we're back at ESPN, the stats and info group would have some sheet of paper sitting there, and I'm certain they'd run crazy about it. But the Mendoza brothers, I printed out notes here. Let's see. Oh, here it is. The Mendoza brothers, Fernando and Alberto, combined for 19 of 29 passing, 213 yards. also combined for 84 rushing yards. That's
Yep.
297 total yards of offense between two brothers playing the same position for the same school. How freaking cool is that if you're Mr. Mrs. or any or grandparents or cousins, sisters, brothers of the Mendoza brothers?
So Alberto gets in. It's unbelievable, but Alberto gets in and he gets a first down, and Fernando's does that like hands above the head first down sign, and it was, I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you're so goofy, but I love it because that's just awesome. Like, your brother's out there making plays. You guys are, making this historic run. How do you not love that? You just gotta love that.
In 25 years, I can never remember a brother tandem at the same position, the same school, playing in the same game. And I'm sure it's happened, and someone will pop it up. But like, that's just like on a personal level, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I don't even like any position. I don't remember anything like that happening.
Another note: go to the ACC, give some love before we get to the top 12. We talked about Marcel Reed getting involved in the Heisman. We know Diego Pavia getting involved. Ty Simpson absolutely invited at this moment. If you're not inviting Haynes King from Georgia Tech, 8-0 Georgia Tech, like, I don't know, what are we doing? And maybe he's been probably not going to get drafted. If he does, it'll be late. And it's like all this stuff. But I'm talking about college football during the season, impactful players. He had another 3 passing touchdowns, set a record. I don't know that it's ever been done, or it's been like 200 years since it has been, something like that. 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. Combined, like total yards from scrimmage from him, 395. 304 passing, another 91 on the ground.
Just taking care of business. Just another day at the office for the number 7 team in the country. It's awesome.
Right, and no one wants to, and I get it. They don't have the schedule that the Oklahomas and the Alabamas and even the the Georgias but their schedule is not much harder than like Ohio State or like so far. But they're 7th in the country. They're getting their due. They are where they belong. I truly believe that. But no one really wants to talk. No one believes yet. So I'm fascinated to see, like, down the stretch. And it's the other thing,
that Pittsburgh game, the Pittsburgh game the week before Georgia. Watch out. That could be the trap. That Pittsburgh team's playing way better than they were earlier in the season. You might be looking ahead to that Georgia game. If they get to Georgia undefeated, what a massive game that will be after I don't know, what was it, like a 30 overtime game last year? I mean, it went to like 6 overtimes or whatever it was, with Kirby calling timeout at every overtime. They cannot overlook that Pittsburgh team. But other than that, Syracuse at North Carolina State, at Boston College, they got to be significant favorites in those games.
Yeah, there's no question about it. But
8 OTs. Thanks, Dan. 8 OTs.
8 OTs last year. Our resident yellow jacket. Yeah, there's just not a whole lot else to report. I think it's a perfect time. Let's transition. The TMS top 12.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, please go anywhere you want. I should have asked.
I'll say this. Michigan took care of Michigan State. Did the big brother thing tonight. Justice Haynes.
Yes.
He is the truth. I don't know what his numbers were, but like, he just took over that game. Bryce Underwood is going to be a very good quarterback. I believe that. He is still a very inconsistent passer. And that whole passing attack hasn't really gelled maybe the way they would have liked at this point in the season. But Justice Haynes is a different dude. I mean, he makes that team competitive.
I want to give some love to Memphis too. I mean,
massive win for
South
Memphis.
South Florida came in with just the 1 loss. They were the darling early on in the season. They jumped them too. It was I think it was like 21-7, right?
Yeah.
And they go in the second half. They scored 20 points in the 20-7 in the second half. They outscored them, and now Memphis is 7-1. South Florida was 18.
Memphis had to score 17. They had scored 17 unanswered in the fourth. 17-0 in the fourth for Memphis to win that game.
And Memphis, don't forget the fighting Mortensons. They got knocked off by that UAB UAB team.
Yeah.
And it was an unbelievable story. Alex Mortensen, and Chris was honestly like one of my closest friends in work and in sports throughout my career. And like, I don't know if anyone was or more influential on me really as a human and professionally than Chris Mortensen. And so to see Alex and to like, when I would talk to Chris, it was always about his son first, and then we could get to some of the like. Here's what I'm hearing for the draft, like the amount of pride, and so to hear to watch that story unfold at Memphis's, unfortunately Memphis being on the wrong side of it, 31-24, but then to bounce back against South Florida and get that win. So Memphis now is in that picture with the group of five.
I think percentage-wise, they're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, it makes sense. So this was a monster win. I didn't want to brush over. And UVA, how about Belichick? Maybe they're turning things around at Chapel Hill.
Maybe.
Leave it there. Okay.
Maybe. Maybe.
UVA wins 17-16.
Simmons had a pretty good tweet about that. He said, technically, Belichick has made North Carolina more entertaining. I mean, technically.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
True.
Oh, no question. No question. I'm just looking at the chat. Anything we're missing here? I think Holly had to check out early. Everyone said paid their respects. A lot of Navy talk. All right. Seems like we've gotten off subject here, so that's good. That means that we can transition. TMS top 12. This is like the moment of truth. And listen, we're not going to sit here with the strength of record. And I'm not saying that this is what the AP should be on Sunday afternoon. And we definitely overreact. And I definitely try to squeeze 15 teams in. But that's the fun of this whole thing. But when you look at, if you're watching on YouTube, and we appreciate everyone who is, or on Spotify when it comes out shortly, you're seeing a graphic here. If you're just listening to this podcast, which a ton of people are on Spotify as well, and Apple and everywhere else you get your podcast, you're looking at a top 12 board that Tucker has created for us that has all green W's. Usually it's the green W's and the red L's. And you get 3 byes in there and 9 W's. So why is anything going to change? So I ask you, Muench, with Ohio State at 1, Indiana, this is their top 12, the APs, which we don't always buy into. But I think we're in agreement on the top 4 and nothing changed. Although, does that win at LSU change your mind? Do you want to put them at number 2 or Indiana winning 56? Like, is it still Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M for you?
Yes.
Me too. And then Alabama.
Although I do feel more like Texas A&M is a legitimate national championship contender. I think they've always I've always said that they were a team that could win it. Now I look at them as, they're more than just.
They're in that tier now.
Yeah, they're in that top tier for me.
If we were to tier this thing out, it's a 1, 2, it's 3 in the top tier. I agree.
With Ohio State being top of the mountain by a little bit, but those 2 teams are right there.
I agree. And I think Bama today was an expected letdown, and they showed championship caliber grit to find.
Honestly,
a way to
they
win.
might be in that group too. I wouldn't mind putting them in that group.
I was going to say, even with the 1 loss, I honestly think I'd be interested to see what FanDuel neutral site Alabama, Indiana.
Yeah,
Alabama, Ohio State. It wouldn't be more than 3-point spread, is my guess.
I agree.
So we agree in the top 4. Then it gets kind of interesting, right?
It does.
because here's the tricky part. Georgia just beat Ole Miss, so you can't put Ole Miss ahead of Georgia.
Right.
So Georgia's got to stay at 5 if you believe last week that Georgia was at 5. And I don't think either of us had a problem with that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oregon is sitting at 6. Oregon, what was the final score on Oregon? I know they were still playing.
21-7 is what I think. Let me make sure. I thought it was over at 21-7. That was an afternoon game, wasn't it? Yeah, it was an afternoon game, I think.
No, it was a night game. Was it? Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. So anyway, my question to you is, here's what I want to say. No, I'm going to say. for me, and you can talk me out of it. So Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, A&M 3, Bama 4. And then it's Georgia, Ole Miss, Oregon, Georgia Tech.
Great. Right with you. That's exactly how I would stack them. By the way, Georgia Tech somehow falls a spot in all this, but it's just how I gotta be honest. That's how I feel. And I think that Georgia Tech is legitimately a top 10 team. So I think there's something to be said for that. But Georgia Tech drops a spot even after Oregon has like a lackluster performance against Wisconsin. But that's how I see it too. Georgia, Ole Miss, Oregon, Georgia Tech.
Ole Miss, I'm buying more than I ever thought this season I would buy. I guess that's my biggest takeaway from all of this. And quite honestly, like, yeah, they had 13 yards of total offense. They kind of collapsed in the fourth quarter against Georgia. I mean, they did. They collapsed in the fourth quarter against Georgia. But I honestly, everything off the table, neutral site in the college football playoff, the way these two teams are the trajectories, I honestly think I would take Ole Miss in a rematch, or I would take Ole Miss over Georgia in a rematch.
It's good, but it would be a great game. It would be a great game. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever go against
Well,
Kirby
no shit,
again.
Steve. We already had it, and it was a great game. And now we're putting it in a neutral site. All right, moving on. So we got our top 8. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama, top 4. 5 is Georgia, remains Georgia. They had a bye this week. Then 6 is Ole Miss, 7 is Oregon, Georgia Tech is 8. Now we're down to Miami, Vandy, and the rest. BYU, Notre Dame, Oklahoma gets an L, Texas Tech, Missouri got an L. So that rounds out the top 15.
Miami's absolutely.
I'm putting Vandy at 9.
Wrong. 100%
Miami?
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They just don't look right.
They pulled away in the second half tonight. Pulled
Against
away.
Stanford, bro.
I understand. Stanford, who upset? I don't even know who upset whoever. They had a sleeper of a first half.
Florida State.
Oh, you're right. That's not really much of anything, is it? They won 42-7. It was 7-7 at half, and then they laid 35 unanswered in the second half. Yeah, give me Miami at 9.
Okay, fine. I'll live with it's the TMS. It's not the Todd. It's the McShay show. It's us. But I don't think you're wrong. Yeah, like if head to head, I'm taking Miami over Vandy. But quite honestly, I guess the point for me is with like this much conviction. And if you're listening, I'm putting about 3 sheets of paper between my thumb and my index finger. I don't. And 3 weeks ago, I would have put a shelf of books.
Yeah.
Between the two, like encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Like Britannica, like a 6-pack of Britannicas. BYU is sitting there at 11, Notre Dame at 12, Texas Tech. I love you, BYU. And I want you to prove me wrong. I'm not there yet. I don't know if
I love BYU, but I'm willing to get to know you a little bit better. You know what I mean?
I'm willing to go on a date.
You have my interest. You know, you've kind of been you've been the girl that I've kind of like, I don't know, like maybe not. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Maybe we should grab dinner sometime and see if this goes anywhere.
Let's grab a drink. Let's grab a drink before I commit to a 2-hour dinner. You know.
Right.
But I'll go meet you somewhere for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll meet you somewhere. But if we're talking about Miami 9, Vandy 10, I'm starting to lean with you, man. Like, give me this Notre Dame team.
Yeah, man.
Notre Dame 11, Texas Tech 12, and I really don't want an argument.
Texas Tech, man. I don't know if you saw this. Will Hammond went out with a lower body injury. They have some serious quarterback concerns. Like Will Hammond might be done for the year.
But
still, Yeah. I can't get Virginia. I keep trying to play devil's advocate with Virginia. They
Get
keep
out
winning
of here.
I know they keep winning so many close games. I just,
You know, I got a soft spot for Virginia. You know, I
I
love the
know,
Long
I know,
family.
but it doesn't pass
My
it doesn't
cousin, like
pass a film
Aunt
test.
Lisa's gonna slap you upside the head if you don't tighten up your mouth.
Right.
She's from Charlottesville. The whole Wood family, like all my cousins. I love Charlottesville, and we played football and did Richmond and almost beat them. And I just there's a connection there.
I can't get behind it.
I
You're
can't
right.
get behind it. Yeah, yeah, I think it's clear. And Baron Morton, like, do we have an update on that yet?
I don't know. I didn't see anything before we came on. We should do that for the Monday because that's a
Yeah,
big deal.
it's a huge deal. I'll be honest, like between soccer games and football practices and bonfires and everything, I really wasn't studying the Texas Tech.
Yeah, no, I know.
But Mitch Griffs came in and was 9 of 13 passing,
He looked good.
which means that Baron Morton is not.
Wasn't available, right?
I'm typing it in. This is great TV. I just want to know before we go off.
Well, the Big 12 is still, I think, wide open, man. Or I should say still. I think it's now wide open. They're at Kansas State. They should win that game. The next week they host BYU though. And that Texas Tech BYU game on November 8th is one to keep circled in terms of playoff.
Yeah, I think they're playing it safe with Morton, is what I'm seeing. But we've also seen this with a couple guys, including Lamar Jackson in the NFL, where like I don't trust it till I see it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's everything as reported. I'm hoping the reports are like if he had to, we possibly could, but they're viewing this as a longer term thing. Oklahoma State, they know the situation that program's in right now. They didn't expect a close game. It wasn't a close game, 42-0. And it sounds like Baron Morton will be ready. And probably my guess is, moving forward. But you're one hit away from a guy who's,
Yeah.
yeah. So yes, I agree with you. But until otherwise notified, they are absolutely in the top 12. So
Right.
I like our list. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama, top 4. Georgia, Ole Miss, Oregon, Georgia, Tech rounding out the top 8. Then you got Miami and Vandy, 9 and 10, Notre Dame and Texas Tech, 11 and 12. Like I actually feel more strong about this and clarity than we have all year long.
I agree, man. We're starting to get some things sorted out.
Anything else you want to squeeze in here?
Watch out for those Bearcats, man. Cincinnati hasn't lost since losing by 3 to Nebraska.
I feel like you've become one of those like emotional, like a service dog for Jeff Lewis, my brother-in-law. The McShay family, the Lewis family through the McShays is reaching out every week now because you seem to be this good luck charm for Jeff Lewis and the Bearcats. But I'm telling you what, they got talent. We talked about the NFL prospects. I think maybe on Monday we should do a little bit. Let's get people up to. We did it earlier in the season. Like there are dudes on this Cincinnati team, and they kind of put it on Baylor. And I know Baylor's been reeling recently.
Yeah.
They held Sawyer Robertson to 137 passing yards. Even in their worst moments, Baylor was still putting up 300 to 400 passing yards. And meanwhile, this Brandon Sorsby guy, yeah, he ain't polished. Yeah, he's got some footwork stuff to do. But he is a junior quarterback from Denton, Texas, who's 6'3", 235 pounds, that slings it. He's creative. He's got mobility. And he seems to just be getting better and better as the season progresses.
Yeah, and he's on scouts' radars. I think I told you that before that Nebraska game, a scout texted me and said, "Hey, man, just keep an eye out on the Sorsby guy."
I love it.
Yeah.
So I mean, just since he's 5-0 in the Big 12.
Yeah, 7 games in a row now. Seven games in a row. They've won.
And Baron Morton, we're talking about maybe, what's going on there? What do they got left?
Texas Tech.
They're at Utah next week. That's what I texted you earlier today. I was like, isn't it Utah? And it's at Utah next week.
Oh, you're talking about Cincinnati. Yeah.
Sorry,
they got
Cincinnati. Then BYU, okay, so at Utah, Arizona, BYU at home, and then at TCU. So that if they run it in the Big 12, they're going to earn it.
Yeah.
Because Utah's not what we thought in Utah, but it's still not a fun place to go play.
Yeah. It's a tough place to go win. I'm not high on that Utah team right now, but still.
No. And TCU's a scary opponent. Arizona's 1-3 in the but yeah, they're going to beat Arizona, but I think there's that BYU TCU stretch at the end of the year is going to tell us everything we need to know. But I'm fired up about the Bearcats, and I know Jeff Lewis and Megan McShay Lewis. I don't even think that's what she goes by, but my sister Megan, they love you in that house, in the Lewis house, just north of Cincinnati.
Yeah, go Cats. Go Cats.
Mench's Santa, always trade back. Yeah, Mench's Santa's coming soon. We're doing a redraft. We gotta get draft Santa going.
No doubt.
This has been fun. I apologize. It's not the normal setup. I wasn't able to run it the same way, but I felt like we got some good stuff. The chats. Listen, if we suck, you get on the chat, and they're always out. they're always out kicking their coverage. So we appreciate. Always trade back is number 2 on the. Okay, but we always mention Haas and always trade back, and Evan Holly, and Marie. But I think it's time. And I gave him a little shout on X today. Jeremy Godin has become an absolute star of this thing.
Yeah.
He's got the number 1 crown today. So we appreciate it. Hey, and Andrew Nowak and Saints Chair. You're right. You get the show. We appreciate it. It might have been 4.9 because of circumstance tonight, but Mensch always gets 5 stars.
Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.